And here we are for my first 2-round mock draft. Little side note, I'm going to be picking what I believe each team would do if I was in charge. It's going to be less of what I think they're going to do and what I think they should do. So certain players are going to get picked by teams where it might look like, it doesn't really make sense. It's not what they're going to do. It's just what I think they should do with how the board falls. And so starting off with the Tennessee Titans, I know there's a lot of people talking about Arvell Reese being the number one pick, and I can see it. I think it would be great putting Arvell Reese in Tennessee, being able to have him do everything on that defense to help them. I'm just not there yet. I think it's Ruben Bain is going to be the guy. I think getting a dominant pass rusher is going to be a much better idea for Tennessee right away than, a do-it-all linebacker in Arvell Reese can pass rush, cover. He can do a whole lot of everything, but you can see, like, Caleb Downs is up here also. You also get Sony Styles. It's like the Ohio State defense, I think, got a lot more good players to allow Arvell Reese to play the way that he does compared to the Titans. And I think that the Titans, if you're choosing to keep Jeffrey Simmons, you're choosing to keep T'Vondre Sweat, I think putting Ruben Bain to be the other guy on the other side of Oluwafemi Oladejo, who I'm pretty high on, I think you can get yourself a really good front four, worry about building everything else slowly, and just get that pass rush, because I think that's what a lot of teams are going to be looking at, is that you need a pass rush to really have a good defense, because it takes so much pressure off of your secondary, off of your linebackers to be able to get after the quarterback and not allow them to have all day back there. I think Ruben Bain's going to help the Titans do that more than what Arvell Reese will be helping with for putting pressure on the quarterback, because Arvell Reese, I do think, is going to be a top 5 pick. It's just, I just can't see his impact helping the Titans the way that they want. And so if Ruben Bain's won and the Saints are on the clock, I think so far from what you've seen out of Tyler Shough, it's hard to say what they should do. I mean, you've got 2 quarterbacks, Ty Simpson, Fernando Mendoza down here, that it's like, you should take a quarterback. But I know that their defense is getting up there in age. You got like Demario Davis, who I think is a huge impact on the reason of why their defense is still as good as it is. If Arvell Reese is there, you take him at 2. I think if you don't have the Titans taking Arvell Reese, I think the Saints take Arvell Reese. I don't see a way. Arvell Reese is a top 2 pick. It's either he's going to Tennessee or he's going to the Saints. I don't see him getting past those 2 teams at this current moment. Which then brings the Giants up for pick number 3. I mean, Jordan Tyson, I think, just the best receiver in this class. And I think putting him in this offense here with Malik Neighbors, having your quarterback Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbo when he gets back healthy, I think you're really going to give that offense a really good floor, as long as they're able to get some O-line play out of whatever they're going to trot out for an offensive line next season. I mean, Andrew Thomas, I like. I don't know if you're bringing back Elena Moore as your right tackle, because their cap situation is not good. So I think getting it figured out, especially also Jordan Tyson, the pick, because I don't think Wan'Dale Robinson returns. I think he kind of is getting priced out of the Giants' price range. So unless Wan'Dale takes a cheaper deal, I think you're really looking at receiver outside of Malik Neighbors. You're like, there's not much here. I think Jordan Tyson really helps you out there. Next, the Browns, with their first rounder, they also have pick 19 from the Travis Hunter trade. Yeah, we saw Shedeur Sanders last night, and it wasn't good. Dylan Gabriel hasn't been good. So, quarterback should be the pick, right? I don't think so. I think this team is a lot away from having quarterback be what you want. But I also think I don't see a way that you're able to have yourself viewed as a competent team if you don't go quarterback here. Because, like, you could go to help the defense, but you just saw last season where Myles Garrett was threatening where he wanted to be traded, and you paid him, but if your team's still not good, what is there to say he doesn't do it again? Is what I'm trying to get at. And I think you can't lose Myles Garrett if you're the Browns. That'd be a huge blow to this defense. So I think they've kind of got pigeonholed into where they need to take quarterback. And in my opinion, I think Ty Simpson is QB 1A. I think Mendoza's 1B. I think you're happy with really either of them. I just think that Ty Simpson's going to fit Cleveland, fit with what they want, and be able to play better with what limited assets they have there. Jets at 5, I mean, the Justin Fields experiment failed. Tyrod's not great. You're going to need a quarterback. I think they have the offensive line that's better than Cleveland, to where I think that's why Cleveland goes Ty Simpson, is because your O-line is going to be a bigger issue. I think Mendoza really needs a better offensive line for him to be good. Well, Jets, their offensive line looks like it could be pretty good. You got pretty much your franchise, you hope franchise left tackle, right guard, and center. You really just kind of, John Simpson, I don't think your franchise left guard. May want to eventually look at getting a replacement, but I think that he's really serviceable. So, Jets, if you're saying, this offense should be better with a new quarterback in there that actually is able to throw the ball, Mendoza, I think, fits perfectly. And then if you're the Raiders, I mean, you're just pissed because the two quarterbacks are gone. In my opinion, I don't think Dante Moore is going to be in this class. I think redshirt sophomore, everything feels like he's going to be going back to school, and so I'm not going to be having him in this draft. And then your other quarterback options, I mean, I like Maeva and Sorsby. I think they're both first-round caliber guys. I think PFF is really just slow on moving them up, because I think Maeva and Sorsby should be right under Dante Moore. I think they're better. Those two are better than Nussmeier, Sellers, Levitt, and Mateer. I think Sellers, Levitt, Mateer, and Dante Moore, I think all should go back to college. I think Dante Moore could be a first-round quarterback, but I think he goes back to school, comes out next year with another good year, he might be the number one pick. I don't think he's the number one quarterback if he comes out in this class. I think Ty Simpson and Mendoza are clearly better, in my opinion. So I'm saying Dante Moore goes back because he knows he's not the first quarterback off the board. Nussmeier, he's a senior. He's got to come out. And I'm really not that high on Nussmeier. And then Sellers, Levitt, and Mateer. I mean, just looking at stats, Sellers has been okay. I really don't think he's been great from what I've seen. And, I mean, the numbers kind of back it up where he's been all right, but I don't think he's a first round caliber. Sam Levitt, kind of the same thing. I think that these guys, Levitt, Sellers, Mateer, they're, in my opinion, fringe day 2, maybe falling into day 3. You could see kind of, I mean, I don't really want to compare it to the Shedeur Sanders fall because that I don't think was, I think Shedeur was ranked too high for where people were ranking him. And he kind of was starting to go back to where he should have been as like a second, third round quarterback. And then I think it was just he had interview issues and whatnot in the teams. Yeah, they kind of were blackballing him, not picking him where I think he could have been picked. I don't think that's going to happen with Sellers, Levitt, Mateer. I think that they just should go back to school, get another year of good film, and it could be an amazing draft class for quarterbacks next season with Moore, Sellers, Levitt, Mateer. If Arch comes out next year, that'd be a lot better, which is why I think Sorsby and Mayava are coming out this year. I think they could get into the first round. You may as well just come out, be a first round quarterback, because if you have Moore, Sellers, Levitt, Mateer, you got Arch, you've got all these other quarterbacks that aren't eligible until next season. You could have some of these quarterbacks like Mateer and Levitt, you could have them move up or they could move down. I think if you're looking at the quarterbacks and you're saying, well, right now I'm looking at a late second, early third at the earliest for Levitt, Mateer, and Sellers, I would just go back to school, try and see if, and kind of bet on yourself that you're able to be better. So Raiders, if you don't have a quarterback available, I think you need to address the defensive line. Having only Max Crosby really is not gonna be able to be winning you football games, and it's showing that Max Crosby is a absolute insane edge rusher. Well, he needs some help, and I think Peter Woods is gonna be that help. You kind of had it with Christian Wilkins, but you never really got to see them play together outside of, I think, a couple games, maybe a game before Wilkins got injured, missed all of last season, and then got released before the season started. It's like you're really looking at it and thinking, man, if you give an interior presence to help out Max Crosby, that should be a huge boost. So that's where I think they should go. I think they should help out Max Crosby. You're not really going to be able to do much to help the offense unless you're taking a lineman, in which I think that the lineman is kind of a weak class for offensive line, where I don't think the number 6 pick, that'd be such a reach in my opinion for an offensive lineman. Pick 7 with the Dolphins. I think that it's got to be a corner, man. They need help in the secondary. I think Mansour Delane is going to be that guy. He's going to be, 22 at the draft. He's a 6-foot corner. Yeah, I know PFF grades people don't really like. It's just, he's played so good this year. I think he is corner one. And he's going to be the corner one. Especially because Yermon McCoy hasn't played this year. I can't say, I can't say that Yermon McCoy having a whole year of not playing is still corner one when Mansour Delane is playing at such an amazing. He's playing so good, playing at such an amazing rate, and it's just, man, I think he's worked his way into being corner one, and I think the Dolphins need to help out that secondary. I think that secondary is porous. You really don't have a corner that you look at for the Dolphins, and you're like, this guy is going to be the future at cornerback. Because, like, their top corners right now, you're playing like Jack Jones, Rasul Douglas, and Juju Brents. I like Juju Brents, but, I mean, he could definitely be one of your top corners. But I don't think that having, like, 1-2 games out of Juju Brents that's been good. He's only played, 60 snaps at corner for the Dolphins this year? You can't really say that Juju Brents is that guy when you really have only seen maybe a game worth of film. Rasul Douglas, I mean, he's 30 now, so you're really not looking at Rasul Douglas as the future. And then you got, Storm Duck, Jack Jones, Jason Marshall Jr., you got Artie Burns on this team, Kader Coho. You really don't have that future guy to be your number one unless you think Juju Brents is going to be able to continue what he's doing. So I think adding Mansour Delane is going to be a huge, huge pick. So then next, Washington. I think that they need to help out this defense. Their defense has not looked amazing this year. And I think there's going to be a big hole at linebacker. I've got a feeling I think Bobby Wagner's retiring at the end of this season. He really hasn't been the same Bobby Wagner. So go draft Sonny Styles. That is a amazing fit. Sonny Styles, for so many teams, so many drafts, would be the number one linebacker. Except for the fact that Arvell Reese is in this class. Sonny Styles is that good. I think he is a top 10 pick. It's just, he playing next to Arvell Reese, I think both of them, it's like, can you really say that they're that good without the other there? I think so. I think both of them are going to be insane linebackers, and I think that you're going to be able to look at, a lot of the last couple of drafts, the top linebackers taken, but in the past, it was always first-round linebackers don't work out. Well, you got Sanders for the Lions, if I'm remembering his name right. I believe it is Sanders, the linebacker. Jack Campbell. Thinking of a different linebacker. Jack Campbell for the Lions. That was a good pick. Eagles, I mean, you just had Jahad Campbell fall into your lap, and it's looking like, the league made a mistake on that one. I think it's getting to where, if a linebacker is good, a linebacker is good. You're really looking at it, it's like, man, these linebackers, they're not the linebackers of old. You're not having these linebackers that are just like, everyone's looking at it like, oh, well, you drafted a bust. It's not looking like that anymore. It's looking like, you get a good linebacker, you're able to put them in the positions where they need to be. And I feel like, the Saints taking Arvell Reese and the Commanders taking Sonny Styles. I mean, you replace Demario Davis and then Bobby Wagner with two linebackers that look like they could be studs. They could be superstars. They could change how people think about linebacker in the draft. They're like, man, how we need to be taking these linebackers. And I think that's something that the league's really needing to look at. And it's like, man, linebacker is really important. The reason why the Chiefs' defense has always been so good the last couple of years, I mean, Nick Bolton and Leo Chanel are an insane linebacking duo. You see where, like, beginning of the year, Denver, their linebackers played terrible, and then they've slowly started to get better, and it's like that defense is now clicking with these linebackers getting better. With the linebackers playing better, like Alex Singleton was not good at the beginning of the year. He's been a lot better at getting back Dre Greenlaw, having Schneid play better. It's like, man, you looking at these top defenses, they have good linebackers. You need a good linebacker. I mean, you really need two good linebackers to have a top defense is what it's looking like. So I think linebacker with Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles, you really need to look at it to where it's like, man, we gotta take these guys. For the Bengals, I thought about this, and man, if Caleb Downs is available, how do you not take Caleb Downs? A absolute terrible Bengals defense. Your corners, not great. Your safeties aren't playing good. Your linebackers are playing terrible. You really only have a single edge rusher in Trey Hendrickson, and I don't see a way Trey Hendrickson is on this team next season. You just need talent on this defense. Caleb Downs is talent. That is pretty much a definition of drafting talent for a defense. It's not gonna fix the defense, but it's a damn good start in figuring out how to make a better defense. For the Rams here, I mean, I think it's a fairly simple pick. I thought about taking a quarterback here, but I think if you got the Cardinals as the next pick, Cardinals, I think, need a right tackle. Spencer Fano, I think, is the best right tackle in the class. Rob Havenstein, however you want to pronounce it, hasn't played amazing this season. He's getting up there in age. Get a replacement. Spencer Fano, you take him right here, right in front of the Cardinals, who I think the Cardinals were going to take. They were going to take it. That was going to be their pick. Can't be their pick anymore. He's gone. I think that you look at it and it's like, man, if you're not able to take Fano, I know there's a bunch of teams where it's like you've seen in the past, if the player they want is taken right in front of them, they just go with the next best player at that position. So I could see him go with Francis Mauigoa, but I want to believe that the Cardinals are smarter than that, and they're not just going to be like, hey, well, the guy we wanted's gone, we'll just go with the next best option. I think they'll be like, okay, we can't address tackle right here. We need to address something else. Man, their receiving corps needs help. You know who would make a really good combo with Marvin Harrison? Carnell Tate. You just have Carnell Tate right in your hands. And it's like, man, well, obviously we gotta take Carnell Tate, in my opinion. Yeah, I like Micaiah Lemon. It's just I think Carnell Tate would make so much sense. Now, the Cowboys, I mean, your defense is rough, man. It's a rough defense. TJ Parker is still available, dude. That's gotta be it. if TJ Parker's right here, you need help at the edge rusher. I mean, you could use a guy like, say, what's his name? Micah Parsons, I think would really help out this defense. But, I mean, if you're able to have a guy like that, clearly you would keep him around. You wouldn't get rid of him. Well, TJ Parker, I'm not saying he's Micah Parsons, but you got a Micah Parsons sized hole. TJ Parker, he's able to help make it a little bit less of a hole. I think TJ Parker, you gotta figure out this edge rush. You gotta figure out how to get that defense to actually be good. I mean, I think the first thing is fire Eberflus and then get an edge rusher. You need to help out that defense. Ravens here. I mean, I thought about this for a good bit. For the Ravens, you need help at receiver. You really only have one. DeAndre Hopkins. Who knows if Hopkins chooses to play another year? I mean, he's playing good. But if he retires, then what? You only have Zay Flowers? Because Rashad Bateman, I don't think Rashad Bateman's that great. He hasn't really played that good. He's a good run blocker, but if your second receiver on your team is a good run blocker and not a good receiver, I mean, it's going to help your running game, but man, you need help in the passing game. Micaiah Lemon, I think, just is going to be that guy. I think Micaiah Lemon, I really think the USC receivers are Micaiah Lemon and Jacoby Lane, both really good. I think you go with Micaiah Lemon, really just try and figure out how to help this passing game. Because Lamar, if you're not able to pass the ball because your receivers just don't want to catch, it's not good. Now, Vikings here, I think that what they say for needs, I don't think offensive line is a need. It was just they had injuries. And, I mean, quarterback could be a need, but you're not going to take a quarterback after taking J.J. McCarthy, and you really have... You really haven't seen J.J. 5 games, I think? Only 5 games of J.J. McCarthy is not enough to be like, oh, we need to replace this guy. So as of right now, they're not replacing J.J. McCarthy. You need help in the running game. Jeremiah Love's available. Get a running back. Get yourself help in that running game. Especially because I think if the Texans, if Love was available, I think having Jeremiah Love and Woody Marks together would have been really good. But I think the Texans, this is going to... Jeremiah Love being gone helps the Texans not make a mistake. And I think it would be a mistake if you don't take offensive line. And it's like, so tackle, interior O-line, I mean, Vega, Ione could easily be the pick here. I think you take Francis Mauigoa. From what I've seen, I think you need help on the line. And it's like, yeah, well, you could say, well, you have Ariante Ursary and you have Blake Fisher. Well, if I'm wrong on Blake Fisher, that's fine. I don't think that Blake Fisher's really that good. And it's like he's had injuries and he's not even playing right now. So it's like, because from what I'm seeing, they're starting right tackle. I mean, if you're starting Trent Brown instead of a young right tackle in Blake Miller, hell, even Titus Howard move into guard. You don't even have him in the lineup from what I'm seeing, and I'm not seeing anything saying he's injured. I just think he's not that good of a player. Francis Mauigoa, you need help on the line. Take a lineman. I could see if you want to take Vega Ione there, it would make sense to me. It's just, I think tackles are extremely important. And if you think Ariate Arasari is going to be your franchise left tackle, and you're not playing Blake Miller at right tackle, instead you're playing either Titus Howard or Trent Brown there, go Francis Mauigoa. You got to have someone there. So you may as well take a chance. Next, for the Panthers, I mean, from what I looked at, I think you need a guy. I think you should help the defense more. Yeah, I think your offense, I like your O-line. You got good running backs. Your receiving core is young. And same thing with tight end. So it's like, your receiver, I really don't think you need right now. I don't think edge is really your big need because you just drafted two, and Princely Umanmielen and Nick Scorton. They're both young. You want to see them develop. So it's like, yeah, all these edge rushers up here. I don't think it's the pick. I think you help J.C. Horn and you draft Avian Terrell. And I think that's also kind of a gut punch for the Falcons because that's A.J. Terrell's brother. If A.J. Terrell wants to leave the Falcons and you draft his brother, you may be able to get A.J. Terrell to come to Carolina, and then you have A.J. Terrell, Avian Terrell, and J.C. Horn as your three corners. I really like that. I think that's really smart. Now, the Chiefs, I've thought about a bunch of things for the Chiefs. I thought about edge rusher, adding a corner. Is Kenyon Sadiq. Travis Kelce, I mean, it's really looking like Travis Kelce's on his final season. And I think to have a really good offense for the Chiefs, you need that safety blanket at tight end. Now, yeah, they do have a couple young tight ends that they probably like with Noah Gray and Jared Wiley. But, I mean, a fifth and a fourth round picks at tight end. And, I mean, I've seen Bob Tonyan get playing time. I don't think that's going to stop you from getting the best tight end in the class in Kenyon Sadiq, who you hope can be your next Travis Kelce. Because that would be insane if you have another Travis Kelce right after he retires. I would hate that as a fan of a team in the AFC West. That would be terrible. But I think that would, if you're a Chiefs fan, that's exactly what you would want. Next for the Niners, I think that this is fairly simple. I don't think it's a lineman, mainly because Caden Proctor, I don't think is going to be good day one. And yeah, you could still take Caden Proctor, But I think there's going to be an even bigger issue this offseason. You've already had issues with Jawan Jennings and Brandon Ayuk not wanting to be on the Niners. I think you need to figure out receiver, because I think if you go into the season with a single receiver, that's not going to be good. Go get Denzel Boston. Offensive line, yeah, it's an issue. You've had multiple injuries at receiver. Then you have a couple players at receiver that just don't want to play for the Niners, apparently. I don't know what's going on with Brandon Ayuk. He's still not back. I thought he would have been back. I may have been wrong about his injury. I feel like he should have been back by now, and he's not. So, I don't think Brandon Ayuk's there next season. Jawan Jennings may not be there. You've got Ricky Pearsall. He's injury prone from what you've seen so far. I mean, yeah, one of those injuries was getting shot. That's not going to happen every year. But if he's going to be having an injury here, there, you may as well get another receiver. Try and figure out adding more to this offense so that way your top receiving option isn't Christian McCaffrey, your running back. I mean, he's good, but you're really just going to run McCaffrey into the ground, and then you're going to have nothing on offense because, I mean, Kittle's starting to get up there in age also. So it's like, if you're going to, you can't really just run this offense into the ground, and then it's like, hey, Brock Purdy, go out there. You have no O-line, you have no receivers, you don't have a running back, and you got no tight end. Figure out how to win. And, I mean, they could be able to scheme up players, but you need a difference maker to be good in this league, is what I'm seeing. Next, for the Browns, I mean, you took Ty Simpson. Something that you're going to need to do is protect him. Vega Ione. You're going to bring in the top guard. Mainly because if you don't take Vega Ione, your next guard, I don't think goes until mid-third round, if that. And I still think mid-third round is going to be a reach on any of these guards. You may as well get the best guard in the class. Steelers, simple, quarterback. Who do I think? Moore, I don't think's in the class. Sellers, Levitt, Mateer, I don't think should be in the class. Nussmeier, just don't think it's good. I just don't think Garrett Nussmeier is good. Go Brendan Sorsby. Sorsby, I think, is going to be a good NFL quarterback. Really haven't seen anything to say that he's not going to be able to translate into the NFL. Get yourself a quarterback. And then worry about everything else because, man, they really haven't had that top quarterback since Big Ben retired. I mean, yeah, you had Kenny Pickett. But, I mean, Pickett really was just a reach in his class also. I don't think Sorsby at 20. I don't think that's a reach. I think Sorsby could easily go at 20 in this class. Bills, I think they're going to take a chance on Yermod McCoy. I mean, yeah, he hasn't played this year. I really can't tell you if he's going to be good after this injury or not because we haven't seen him play after he hasn't recovered. Last season, he looked really good, and it's like, man, nothing. We don't know. Is he going to be good? Is he not going to be good? If I knew the answer, I would be a GM. I don't know the answer. I'm not a GM. Now the Bears, I think you need help on this defense. Your your defense was really good because they kept getting turnovers. And turnovers are not a good stat to base on a defense because turnovers aren't going to happen every game. I can be proven wrong. Maybe this team just is able to get an interception every game, maybe force a fumble here and there. That could be the case. But I think you need to be able to get after the quarterback. I think Keldrick Falk, yeah, 6'6", 285. He's kind of a hybrid inside outside guy. I think he fits what they want. I mean, you signed Dale Odengbo. He's kind of the same role. I think Keldrick Falk is just a better Dale Odengbo. So I think that's going to help out your defense, whether he helps inside, helps outside edge. He's going to be able to help out this defense. Especially, he should be able to get after quarterbacks. And you look at the quarterbacks in the division, Goff, yeah, you really don't get to pressure him, mainly because he's really good against the pressure. Man, I don't think Jordan Love and I don't think J.J. McCarthy, they're not good against the pressure, in my opinion. You may as well find a way to put more pressure on them. Now, Tampa, man, I think tight end, I think they like Cade Otton, and I don't think there's another good tight end so far in this class. Not someone that's stood out. You need a guard, apparently, from what they're saying here. I do think they need a guard. It's just, again, mid-third round at earliest for these guards. And you need an edge. Well, I think you need a linebacker more than edge. I'm going to say they go C.J. Allen. I think that when Lavonte David retires, you're really going to see that this linebacking core outside of him is so bad. I do not like their linebackers outside of Lavonte David. I don't think they really have anyone in position to replace Lavonte David. Go get C.J. Allen. Like I said earlier, with Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles, you're replacing an aging vet at linebacker with someone that you think is going to be able to, you really don't think you have anyone else in that replacement role. You go get your linebacker. Linebackers are really going to be something that I think are going to start climbing up the board as more teams realize it's like, man, linebacking help is not going to be easy to find. Finding a good linebacker is hard. And I think getting it to where you start to draft these linebackers again, because you've seen Jack Campbell and you've seen Jahad Campbell. Maybe it's just the Campbells. If you find a linebacker with the last name Campbell, are they just good? Is that just what it's gonna be? With Jack Campbell and Jahad Campbell. Man, if you find a Jay Campbell at linebacker, take him. So what I'm seeing now, apparently, I think that could just be the case. But I think C.J. Allen, I think that's going to be a big impact. Lions, I mean, I think you should help out this offensive line. I think if you get Taylor Decker, you have Christian Mahogany, Graham Glasgow, I think, is going to be gone. I think he retires. Then you have Tate Ratledge and Penei Sewell. Well, you need a center. In my opinion, Connor Lew, I don't think's the best center in this class. I think is Jake Slaughter. I think Jake Slaughter is going to be the first center off the board. It would not surprise me if it's a first round pick to the Lions. I would not be surprised. Now, here for the Cowboys, you kind of just look at it and it's like, well, what we took an edge. We don't have a second round pick. Casey Concepcion. Now, yeah, that's going to be a really polarizing pick because, man, taking a receiver when you've got these issues on defense, when I've just said, linebacker, if you need linebacker, take linebacker. Well, I think that they've got a linebacker coming back in Overshown. He's going to be back next season. I kind of like Overshown. I think he could be the guy. Yeah, you took an edge. You've made the deals for interior D-line and Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark. You still have the other edge. Why am I forgetting his name? The guy you just drafted. Donovan Ezeraku. I think that you got Quinnen Williams, Osa Digazua, and Kenny Clark. That should be a good interior D-line. I think you take one edge you've already taken TJ Parker. Get yourself a receiver. Why not? Casey Concepcion. It's like me. You could take corner, yes. I think corner could definitely be a pick. I just really think Casey Concepcion fitting in to this offense is absolutely beautiful. Now, Chargers, it's going to be your interior O-line. You're going to take Connor Lew, in my opinion. You're taking an interior O-lineman. I think Connor Lew is your second best center in the class. And I think that Bradley Bozeman has been terrible for the Chargers. You've had so many injuries on this offensive line where it's looking like, man, you need help at linemen, whether they're a starter or a backup. You need help. You go get help. Now, Rams, I've already taken Spencer Fano. So, you're taking your right tackle. Well, get yourself a franchise quarterback, Jaden Mayava. This might be the last year of Stafford. I mean, if they win the Super Bowl, I could see Stafford retiring on top. And if it's not the last year of Stafford, it maybe has one more year in him. Jaden Mayava coming in, sitting for a year behind Stafford, I really like. Whether he's starting, I really like. I really like Jaden Mayava. I think keeping him in California with the Rams, I think that's a perfect fit. And that would be a terrifying offense. You have Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, Jaden Mayava. What if Devontae Adams doesn't retire? And you still have Adams there? You got young guys, Jordan Whittington, Konata Mumpfield, maybe Tutu Atwell. You got Blake Corum and Yarquez Hunter. Oh. And with the play calling out of Sean McVay, Jaden Mayava at quarterback, that could be a absolute must-watch TV every game. So now, the Patriots, I mean, yeah, offensive line is still something they could be drafting. I think edge, I don't think's as big of a need as I think getting a franchise corner next to Christian Gonzalez. Colton Hood, I think, is a amazing pick next to Christian Gonzalez. Now, Eagles, I think they would have taken Colton Hood if he was available. I think you go Brandon Sissy. And I don't know if I'm saying his name right. I'm still not certain. If it's Sissy, Sissay, I think it's Sissy. What I'm saying. I think corner, though, is going to be the Eagles' pick here. Yeah, you made a trade for, what, 2 corners and then 1 retired. If I'm remembering this right, you made the trades for Michael Carter and Jair Alexander. That Jair Alexander you traded for and he retired. That was the name I was forgetting. But yeah, so you got Quinyon Mitchell, you've got Cooper DeJean. Whether or not you play Cooper DeJean corner, safety, kind of have him in this hybrid role, you still, I think, need another corner. Add in Brandon Sissy. I think that's going to make it a lot better of a look on defense. So here at Denver's pick, I don't think that their needs are listed right. I think running back, you just bring back J.K. Dobbins, another year of R.J. Harvey should be good. Tight end, you don't really have a draftable guy here. Center, you don't really have a draftable guy. Plus, I kind of like who they have at center. So then it's, well, linebacker. Well, at linebacker, yeah, Anthony Hill, Deontay Lawson. I think linebacker, I mean, Alex Singleton and Dre Greenlaw, I don't really think linebacker is as big of a need as they say. So for Denver, I mean, unless, depending on who they lose in free agency, it might just be replacing who they lose. You could say receiver, first round. I think Caden Proctor. Now, that's going to be really controversial because offensive line, especially left tackle with Garrett Bowles there, you're not needing left tackle. Here's what I say. But when Garrett Bowles retires, you need left tackle. Bowles is 33. So, if you're telling me that you don't need Garrett Bowles replacement, I think you're wrong. I think you could easily look at finding the guy after Garrett Bowles, who's been absolutely insane this year. And it's like, man, maybe you don't want to pick that. But as of right now, I just don't see what else to take for Denver outside of receiver. And I really just don't like the receivers here for Denver, at least in Denver's offense. Chris Brazzell, I mean, okay. Burke, Strong, Surratt, Bell, Lane, even Omar Cooper. I just don't see it for Denver's off passing game. I think keep your strength a strength. Don't worry about having, because I think having Garrett Bowles retire and then having to worry about finding that left tackle. If you have Caden Proctor there, develop him. Because, I mean, yeah, Caden Proctor, apparently, a lot of people love him. and a lot of the draft community doesn't. So it's kind of, in the middle. I think he's got potential. I don't think he's going to be a good day one pick. That's why he didn't go to the Niners, because he's not going to be a good day one pick. Same thing with the Browns. He's not going to be good day one. So teams needing a day one tackle, that's not what Caden Proctor is to me. So a team that doesn't want a day one tackle in Denver, Caden Proctor, I mean, that would be absolutely insane to be able to have him fall into your lap. And if you don't have another huge need and you're able to take a Caden Proctor, well, why not take a Caden Proctor? Next, Seattle. I think offensive line, you really don't have an interior O-lineman. I think you need a right guard. Jennings Dunker, I just think he's going to be a guard in the league. It's just me. I think you take Jennings Dunker to be your right guard. I could see him transition to guard during the draft process, because otherwise Jennings Dunker, I think, is going to be like a late second rounder at tackle. But if he transitions to guard during the draft process, he could easily be a first rounder, late first rounder, mid first rounder. Maybe he moves up to this Bucks pick, or he's the Chargers pick. He could move up higher, but I think currently where he's listed at tackle, and I think there's a couple other big needs for these other teams. I think Seattle gets him, moves him to guard, to the right guard, bench Anthony Bradford. I think that's a good pick for Seattle. Next up is the Jets. You took Mendoza. Well, how do you move on now? Move next. You took your franchise quarterback. At least you hope franchise quarterback. It's the last pick of the first round. So whoever you pick, you get a 5th-year option on. I think after moving on from Quinnen Williams, you find a replacement, Caden McDonald. I think Caden McDonald is going to be maybe not Quinnen Williams, but you call him Quinnen Williams light. And I think that's going to be an amazing pick. He could easily be moving up this board to maybe, I don't think the Cowboys take him, but maybe say the Bears. He could move all the way up to the Bears pick. Maybe even the Ravens, if Nnamdi Madubuike isn't going to be playing anymore because of his injuries. That could definitely be a pick also. So it's like, well, you may as well get that. Go get yourself your franchise D tackle. If that's the case, Caleb Banks, I mean, he played a game, is injured, has not come back. I mean, Caleb Banks, I think, is going to be good. But man, I think a lot of teams might get scared off by the injury, and he's going to fall. That's just what I think is going to happen. He's going to fall because of the injury. So now Tennessee, I mean, O-line wise, you feel like for the Titans you have two offensive linemen already figured out. You've got your left guard Peter Skoronski, and you want to hope J.C. Latham ends up developing. You just paid all this money to Dan Moore, so you're probably not moving on from him. Cushenberry, maybe. Zeitler probably retires. Well, my opinion is you need help. You need to help Cam Ward at receiver. I think Casey Concepcion is the guy that you want. Cowboys took him. So I think you go ahead. Chris Brazell. You just get him a 6'5" target that has good hands. I really haven't seen anything that says, I mean, yeah, the 46% contested catch rate, you wish could be higher, but man, I think Chris Brazell, after a bad 2024, has been having a great season here. I think for the Titans, just bring him on in. He stays in Tennessee. You may as well. So, now, Saints, after taking Arvell Reese, I still think his defense. Romello Height and David Bailey. I think you just go David Bailey. He's just better. Cassius Howell, I thought about. I don't know if he fits what the Saints want. I mean, David Bailey's not that much heavier, but I just think David Bailey's better. I think it's just what's going to come down to. Cassius Howell, I think's good. I think he's the next guy off the board. And then maybe Romello Height, depending on what team. Romello Height, I think, is really interesting because he's good. It's just 240. Some teams may not value it, but I mean, Nick Benito is 240, and he's got such a quick first step. He's just there. The ball's snapped, and it's like, how do you get to the quarterback already? I think a lot of teams are kind of looking at it. I mean, like, man, well, maybe we want that. For the Giants, however, after taking Jordan Tyson, I don't think they're looking at edge rusher. Austin Sirvold. Now, yeah. Well, you could say, well, he played tackle this season. Maybe he's going to want to come out as a tackle. He played guard. You can see, yeah, 2024 played both guard spots. And according to PFF, I guess wasn't great as a guard. And he got better here as a tackle. Well, I think the Giants just say, hey, you're a guard. You're a guard for us. You're playing guard. And you just go, that's it. You're coming in to play guard. You need help because outside of Andrew Thomas, you don't got much. Honestly, nothing is coming to the top of my mind. I can look at who they've got. But, I mean, Marcus Mbow is, a developmental guy. You got John Runyon, Greg Van Roten playing either Austin Schlottman or John Michael Schmidt at center. Evan Neal's not even getting playing time. So it's like, Evan Neal's injured. So, but I mean, I don't think Evan Neal would get the playing time anyways. You need help protecting your quarterback. Austin Sirvold, I think, helps. Next, for the Browns, Caleb Lomu. You need help on O-line. You may as well see if Caleb Lomu, if he comes out, he's a great pass blocker from what PFF says. I think You know, 2 quarterbacks hit, 4 hurries, 0 sacks allowed as a left tackle. Maybe the Browns find their left tackle of the future, next Joe Thomas. Who knows? Now, Jets on the board again. I mean, you took Mendoza and Caden McDonald. Well, hey, you know how you traded Sauce Gardner? I thought about Chris Johnson. I just like Keith Abney more. I think Chris Johnson is an amazing corner. I just like Keith Abney more. I think Keith Abney is... I think he could easily be a first rounder if he continues to play how he does. And if he has a good combine, good interviews, it would not surprise me to see Keith Abney in the first round. As of this moment, I haven't seen anything to say that he's going to fall further than pick 37 here. Now, Raiders, I mean, you took Peter Woods. Man, I still think D-line is an issue. Whether it's edge or not, man, Romello Height just... Yeah, Romello Height. You get an edge rusher on the other side of Max Crosby, I think could be scary. Having a guy like Romello Height on the other side. Now, yeah, it's not going to help your run defense. His run defense isn't great. But just straight get after quarterback, I like it. Could take him off on obvious running plays, but the obvious passing plays, he's going to come in, and I think he's going to be able to make an impact. Now, Miami, Mansour Delane, already picked. Well, if you don't think Tyreek Hill's going to play, go get Elijah Surratt. I really love Elijah Surratt. I think, yeah, he's had a bad couple of games in which you've seen their other receiver, Omar Cooper, has played better the last couple of games. I still think Elijah Surratt should be the guy here. And then Texans, I mean, Christian Miller. I really like Christian Miller. It's just, do you think Caleb Banks is going to be the same guy coming off the injury? I'm skeptical of the injury. I'm going to go Christian Miller for them. Yeah, they should take O-line, but I don't think you take a left tackle if you think Ariante Arcery is going to be the guy. So then it's like, well, you really don't have a pick here for offensive line. You may as well make a strength even more of a strength. Christian Miller. Bengals. You took Caleb Downs. Well, you still need help on defense. I mean, Cassius Howell, he's still here. I just think R. Mason Thomas should be the pick. To replace Trey Hendrickson, go R. Mason Thomas. I really think that I think it's going to be edge rusher no matter what, whether it's R. Mason Thomas, Cassius Howell, Quincy Rhodes. LT Overton, I don't think is going to be the guy because he's a hybrid inside-outside guy. I mean, they could take Josh Josephs. But I think they're taking an edge rusher to replace Trey Hendrickson here. Now, the Falcons, I think you're looking at receiver. Tackle, yeah, I mean, you could look at a Jake Matthews replacement, but I don't think the Falcons are in a spot where they can look at replacing good players, getting the future replacement. D-line, I mean, Caleb Banks is available. It's just, if you have Penix and you want to help out Penix, should take receiver. I'm going to go Ian Strong. I think you help out Michael Penix. Is his name? I think you help out Michael Penix and add a receiver in, because otherwise, if you really hope Darnell Mooney might get better, but I think you need a third receiver if you think Darnell Mooney's going to be good. But if Mooney's not going to be good next year, you only have a receiver in Drake London. That's a tough sell for the Falcons. For the Cardinals here at linebacker, is my opinion, their next biggest need, because, again, there's no offensive lineman available. You took a receiver in Carnell Tate. Let's get Anthony Hill Jr. out of Texas. Bring in Hook'em Horns. You need help at linebacker. I've said it how many times now with CJ Allen and Arvell Reese and Sony Styles. You know, a good linebacker is something every team needs. Go get a good linebacker. Now, final pick for the Jets here, their fourth pick. You took Mendoza, Caden McDonald, Keith Abney. I think you get Mendoza another weapon. Omar Cooper Jr. Pair Mendoza up with his college teammate. Then you now have Garrett Wilson and Omar Cooper, for sure. Mason Taylor, Arian Smith, maybe John Mechie, Adonai Mitchell, maybe, all maybes. You hopefully keep Breece Hall. Otherwise, running back's going to be an issue. But, I mean, you go get Omar Cooper, get yourself another good receiver for your franchise quarterback, Mendoza. For the Ravens here, I think even if Namdi Madubuike does come back, I still think you need help. You want another interior D lineman. You may as well take a guy that's also dealing with an injury, Caleb Banks. I think Caleb Banks could be a stud. He could be a first rounder. It's just this injury I think is going to scare a lot of teams. We've seen the Ravens are not scared from a controversy. They're not scared of it. Now, Vikings, you took Jeremiah Love to help out your offense. Well, I think you should help out your defense. AJ Halsey. You need another safety because Cam Bynum, you let go for some reason. You let him walk. And Harrison Smith's getting up there in age. You're going to need a replacement. Go get AJ Halsey. Now, Texans, again, it's just not an offensive lineman I think they can pick here. And I'm not doing any trades. So, just go get them. Chris Johnson. Oh, man. Imagine Chris Johnson, Kamari Lassiter, and Derek Stingley. That would be an insane defense. I think the defense would be terrifying for the Texans. If you add another good corner, you play 3 really good corners. Man. Panthers, you took Avian Terrell at corner. Well, still think there's good receivers. get Jacoby Lane, help out Bryce. You really don't have linemen to help Bryce. I don't think you need to take edge because you already took edge. They're just young. Go get a guy to help out Bryce and Jacoby Lane. Chiefs. You took Kenyon Sadiq. I think you took Sadiq to replace Kelsey. Man, you may want to look at potentially replacing Chris Jones eventually, or giving him some more help. Why not have Amari Washington learn from Chris Jones? I think that would be an amazing pick. I kind of thought about LT Overton. Yeah, have him put on a bit more weight, be more interior. But I just think our Amari Washington, I think, could easily learn from Chris Jones and be this next piece in this dominant Chiefs team. Now, Niners, you took Denzel Boston. I'm sorry, there's just no offensive lineman from what I'm seeing. Let's go get Kamari Ramsey. I think losing out, having Talanoa Hufanga leave, I think hurts this team a lot more than they thought it would, especially with also losing Dre Greenlaw and having all these injuries to where, I mean, you just need more help. Let's add Kamari Ramsey in. Kind of hope that he can be Talanoa Hufanga again. Now the Jaguars. This is their first pick. They don't have a first rounder due to the trade with the Browns to go get Travis Hunter. Offensive line, yeah. D-line, I mean, I thought LT Overton, but I really don't like that. Interior D-line, I think Dylan Thienman. Because, I mean, Rod Moore has only played 3 games. I'm going to go Dylan Thienman. I think he's looked really good in coverage. And I think that that's something that you're really going to be wanting here in Jacksonville is more help for coverage. Their safety additions really haven't worked out. You added guys like what's his name? I don't even think he's here on the roster anymore. That safety corner from the Packers, it didn't work out. I mean, you're playing Jordan Lewis up there. It's working. Eric Murray, he's kind of getting up there in age. Antonio Johnson. I think you just try and add even more good players because you can never have enough good players. And I just think adding Dylan Thienman should help the Jags. That one could be a controversial pick. There's just something in my gut saying Dylan Thienman would work wonders for the Jags. Now, Pittsburgh, you took Brendan Sorsby out of Cincinnati. You need to give him another target. Let's get Chris Bell for the Steelers here. Yeah, 6'2", 220. Just, I really like this grade against man coverage. I know people don't like PFF grades, but you've got DK Metcalf. I just really think you need another guy. Having 3 tight ends also doesn't really give me a lot of confidence in an offense either. So, it just feels like the Steelers are just going to consistently need a receiver. So, hopefully Chris Bell can help them. And they, hopefully he doesn't have an ego that gets in the way of helping this team. And that's about all I think the Steelers should be looking at as receivers. Do you have an ego If you don't, come on down. Now, Bills, you took Yermon McCoy. I don't think you nearly have much you can help the offense. It's more the defense. Let's get an edge rusher. Let's get Quincy Rhodes in, a guy that I think is going to be able to help rush the passer. He's not going to really be that big of an issue in the running game, which their run defense has been subpar. I think that's a good pick here. Now, Bears, after taking Keldrick Falk, still probably want to go defense again. Torian York, linebacker, Texas A&M. I think is an amazing coverage backer. You might say the weight is a bit low for height weight. He's not really going to be a great run guy. But I really think a good coverage linebacker could help out the Bears at this moment. I do like TJ Edwards. I do like Tremaine Edmonds. I think Torian York, however you want to say it, I think he comes in, and that should be an amazing addition to this defense. Next up, Tampa, you took CJ Allen. Joshua Josephs. I just think I really don't think these edge rushers that are way 240, I don't believe are that big of an issue, because you've seen Nick Benito in Denver. I'm sorry, it's the guy I'm going to keep bringing up. He was in Defensive Player of the Year conversations for a while. He's like one of the best edge rushers, depending on who you ask. Yeah, I understand, Cassius Howell is still here. Man, it's just Joshua Josephs. I just feel something different from him. I think he fits Tampa. And then the Lions on the clock, bringing up Cassius Howell, I think this is where he goes. You go ahead, get an edge rusher to put on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. Whew. That could be scary for the Lions. Could be scary for the league. Man, I really like it. Packers. There's just a name that comes to mind when I think of a guy the Packers would want. Big Citrus. Traded Kenny Clark. I really think their defensive line, interior D-line, needs more help than receivers, in my opinion, than edge, in my opinion, than linebackers or corners, in my opinion. I think getting an interior D lineman, Big Citrus, I just really love that pick. Now, Chargers, I've thought edge rusher was the first thing that really came to my mind, because you have Khalil Mack, Odafe Owe, Tui Tuipulotu, if I'm saying that right. Yeah, you've got good edge rushers. Khalil Mack's going to retire eventually, and Odafe Owe may get injured. I kind of like Mateo Uyunglele. Just Gabe Yakus. I just think Gabe Yakus is going to be able to come in, really be a guy that can give them help inside and outside. You could have these like weird type of formations where Gabe Yakus is inside the tackle playing in the A gap, or mainly the B gap. I could see them run a couple things where he runs a stunt, goes to the A gap, and blows up a play, or gets through the A gap because you're not expecting it. I just think that the Chargers would be able to find ways to make Gabe Yakus work. And then you could, even if Khalil Mack retires the year after, you still got 3 edge rushers if you keep around Odafeo away, and he plays good enough. I really like the idea of adding Gabe Yakus here for the Chargers. So now we're looking at the Rams, Spencer Fano, Jaden Mayava. Man, if I want to give him Caleb Tiernan, but I think AJ Jackson's just played so good this year. I really can't convince myself to do that. So I'm going to go AJ Harris. I think AJ Harris has the potential. It's just Penn State's been an absolute disaster this season. In my opinion, at least. He really hasn't done much to help. I really just think the Rams they could be able to put him in a position to where his strengths are amplified and they're able to downplay his weaknesses. I just think that's going to be the case. Now, after taking Colton Hood, the Patriots, Mateo Uyungale, putting him on that defense, I think, is terrifying. You give a guy like Mike Vrabel, Mateo Uyungale, ooh, that would be scary. Eagles, I think this is where LT Overton goes. A guy that could play multiple things, edge, play some inside. I think it would give the Eagles a lot of fun looks on defense, where you've got fucking so many good defensive linemen, and you went out, traded to bring in Jalen Phillips. You have Josh Uche, Jalix Hunt, Nolan Smith. You have on the interior Moro Ojamo, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Byron Young. You got a linebacker. It's just, man, your defense would be really good. And then you said, hey, let's make it even better. LT Overton. Because I feel like maybe Jalix Hunt, maybe Nolan Smith, Josh Uche, there's going to be at least a couple of these edge rushers that aren't going to be back because of contract-wise. You may as well go get a guy that can do a bit of everything on the defensive line. Denver, you already saw I went to linebacker. I think adding another linebacker, I think Drew Sanders just isn't really the guy. You have Dre Greenlaw, you have Alex Singleton, but you've seen Greenlaw be injured. You see Singleton's been injured, had some injury, out for surgery for cancer. It's crazy story on how they figured that out. I think add another linebacker. Deontay Lawson is good. I like Jake Golday, Austin Romaine. I'm going Jacob Rodriguez, man. I just think Jacob Rodriguez has played outstanding football this year. PFF says so also. His main issue is just the missed tackles. He's got a couple missed tackles. His completion percentage also isn't amazing. But man, I just think he's got the instinct to be a really good linebacker. Seattle, after taking Jennings Dunker to be a guard, I think linebacker also Deontay Lawson. I think, yeah, you go out. I think it's going to be a run on linebackers in this class. I think there is going to be a fair amount of linebackers taken in the first 2 rounds because that's going to be what you're going to have Arvell Reese, Sony Styles. You're going to have CJ Allen. You're then going to have down here Torian York, Jacob Rodriguez, Deontay Lawson. That's 6 already. Colts on the clock, I think make it 7. Austin Romaine. Between him and Jake Golday, I really just want to say Austin Romaine. It just feels like such a good fit. But Jake Golday is just such a better player. And I think the Colts go ahead and take Jake Golday. So, yeah, you look at this is the first round, and we can go look at through the second round, but it's like, man, I think that it's a really good draft class this year. I think you're going to have a lot of people take players earlier, especially on the offensive line. I don't think really Francis Mauigoa, Caden Proctor, or Jennings Dunker in real life are first round caliber players. Maybe Mauigoa on the edge. Proctor and Dunker, I think you want more in the second round. Connor Liu, Jake Slaughter, you want more in the second round. It's just there's so many teams that need offensive line to where it's like, man, if I don't take a lineman, I'm not getting one. And it's just the Chargers. You can't go really another season without addressing this offensive line. I think the Lions, I think you want to address center and have it to where, well, now you're just worried about whenever you see Taylor Decker retire because you got 2 young guards and Penei Sewell. I don't think's retiring anytime soon. He's like, 26? You get that offensive line figured out, and hopefully you don't go 0 of 5 on 4th down if you got a better O-line. And it's just, I just really think you're going to be able to look at this class and say, the first thing I'm going to say is, I think there are so many good linebackers that are going to come out of this class where it's like, man, if you didn't take a linebacker, why did you not take a linebacker? That's at least my opinion. It's just, I think there's going to be a lot of players still moving up and down. It is only November 17th? Should be getting this out on the same day when I record it, but man, if you're telling me that this is how it looks and nothing changes, I think I'm going to be surprised. There's going to be teams moving up and down. I think some players are going to move up and down, but I've got a feeling you're seeing 4 quarterbacks in the first round, minimum, in my opinion. I think that this draft class that's my hot take. This draft class, it will have 4 first-round quarterbacks. Whether or not it's Mayava, Sorsby, Simpson, and Mendoza, whether it's those 4 or not, I think there will be 4 of them in the first round.